So I try to answer questions on videos, the ones that are a long explanation or a long answer to some questions that I'm asked either on my YouTube channel or my email. And this morning somebody commented on one of my videos, they wish they had like a cheat sheet or a cheat list for the Nokta Legend. And another person was saying they're struggling with navigating with the Nokta Legend. I understand that because the Nokta Legend, the settings are icons, so you have to learn what those icons are to know what that setting is going to do. There's not really a name to those settings on the machine, so you just go to the instruction manual and learn what those icons are, and just play around with the buttons, navigate through the buttons quite a bit. Even if you're not detecting, just navigate through the settings when you're not detecting, so you can learn the icons and learn how to navigate through the menus. And the menus are really not, I'm not going to say that they're not user friendly, but you have to access them in a certain way, right? Not all the menus are right out there in the open, so they're kind of hidden a little bit, some of the menus. And there's some features there's some features on machines that have a lot of impact, have a huge impact on the performance of the machine. Like on the Deus 1 and the Deus 2, it's your discrimination, it's your program, right? Because the programs have different filters in them. Your discrimination, your program, your frequency, your recovery speed, your swing speed, your sensitivity, and all those tie in a lot together. And the menus are really easy to navigate on the Deus. They're self-explanatory, right? They're not icons. They have names to all the settings on them, and there's really not a lot of them compared to the Legend. The Legend has a lot of small icons, so they're a little bit harder to see. But the Legend, how I use it, I use the small coil most of all because it just performs well, and you can learn a detector a lot faster. If you put a small coil on a detector, you can learn it really fast. If you're trying to go deep with a machine that you're just learning, you're gonna struggle, right? Because you're digging out less targets and you're swinging over less targets because you have a big coil and it's taking you longer to pinpoint, and you might be covering more ground, but it takes you longer to extract that target out because you're having to pinpoint it, and pinpointing with a large coil, it just takes you longer, right? And knowing the depth of the target with the big coil is quite a bit tougher. And with the Nokta Legend, there's a couple features that I use most of all. I'll change most of all. This is kind of like a cheat sheet. I can't really teach you how to dial the machine in or how to navigate through the menus. You're gonna have to learn that by yourself. But one thing that I can say about the Legend, at least for me, and I think for majority of the users with the Legend, multi-2 is getting me the most targets out of the ground. Sure, it might be getting me the most trash, but I can take the M2 to most conditions and to most areas, and most of the time it's going to perform better. It's going to get me more targets out of that spot than the other frequencies like M1 or M3. But I haven't have tested the M3 quite a bit, but I didn't really have very good results with it because my ground is freaking dry as a bone, right? Hard as concrete, right? All the ground, right? All the brown grass, right? Just hard as concrete, right? So I don't want to be digging deep right now anyway, because I just can't, right? I can't dig deep because my ground is so freaking compacted and hard clay. And even if my detector is detecting, I still can't dig that deep because I just can't get down to my targets. And in this dry, parched clay here, not much is going be able to penetrate that really dense clay. Not many detectors, and the bigger coils struggle in my hot soil here. And even in the summertime too, I just can't use a big coil this time of year, right? Because I can't dig deep. I don't have an excavator. But there's a few features that I do use on the Nokta Legend quite a bit. The features that have the most impact on what I'm getting out of the ground and what I can reject, is I don't change the recovery speed too much. I really don't, because I'm not trying to go deep anyway, right? If I were trying to go deep, I would just put a big coil on and go to a different area, right? I just can't go deep in my soil. My soil masks targets, right? Coin-sized targets. It will mask targets. It obscures the tones on all machines. All machines, it does the same thing, right? Mineralized soil, when it's wet, it's even worse. I have to reject some of that soil out in just a fine balancing act. Once it becomes wet here, I'll start experimenting with the M3. It's supposed to reject the soil out and supposed to reject some foil targets out to 10 and 11. But that's right where my tone break is when I'm hunting in tot lots. And usually in tot lots, I want to be in single frequency, because the multi-frequency, when I get close to an iron post, it's going to double beep on me. It's going to give me an alerting tone. It's going to give me a low mid-tone on that high tone when I'm in multi-frequency. It's just, the Equinox does that exact same thing. It double beeps when you get close to that target, or get close to posts, and that's where the jewelry's at. So I run in single frequency in tot lots, and I drop my tone break down to 10. It took me a couple weeks, with this new version, with the iron, with the basically 1.09 version. I had the 1.80 and 1.08 version too, but I don't have to drop my tone break down to 7 now to hit on those low conductive targets. I just drop my tone break down to 10, or I can get away with 9, but you're gonna be hitting on a lot of nails. The tone break, I think I adjust the sensitivity and the tone break the most, and the frequency. So those 3 settings. I don't adjust my discrimination, because I want the most descriptive audio as I can get. If you discriminate or you notch like foil, or you notch the iron out, you're going to get clipped tones, and the audio is it's not a full audio, so you're getting that tone just disappears when you rotate on, like a coin on edge, or a ring on edge, or a small piece of not uniform piece of jewelry. It's going to drop down in that range of your discriminated range, so you won't even hear it, right? So it makes it harder to pinpoint. It's not a descriptive audio when you discriminate or not. I want to reject that. I don't want to discriminate out. I want to reject it by tones. So I move that tone break up and down to suit the site. Like if I'm in a spot that has a lot of foil in it, I'll go up to 13 or 14. Sometimes I'll go up to 15 if there's a lot of canslaw. But if you're rejecting canslaw, you're rejecting a lot of jewelry. So 20 is about canslaw range, and I've had a lot of pieces of gold read up at 11, 12, 13, 14. And if you're going for gold, you just got to dig up a lot of trash, right? That's how it is. But in tot lots, I will go in a single frequency and drop my tone break down to 10, and I've had very good results with that. If it's at 11, that's right where a lot of gold reads up at, small pieces of thin gold. It even could be a large piece of gold, and it's thin. It's going to give you 11 on the 1.09 version. And if you're tone breaked at 11, it's going to be a rejected tone, but it's going to give you a strong tone. That's why I do not discriminate, because if you discriminate and that conductivity, that VDI is discriminated out, and you sweep over an 11 or a 10 and it's discriminated out, you won't even hear that. It'll be silent. So if you tone break that down low, or if you tone break that up higher, it'll give you a rejected tone, but it'll be a strong rejected tone. And you can look at your numbers, right? Whenever I get a really strong rejected tone, I'll look at my VDI really quick. Just look at it, and if it's right at near my tone break, I'll dig that out once in a while. They have been gold. The other day I dug out some gold right. It sounded really junky, right? But the tone break and the sensitivity, I'll drop my gain down a little bit too when I'm in tot lots, because I'm around the iron posts, right? And you know, I don't discriminate on the Nokta Legend. I will discriminate to 2. You know, I'll put it in ground instead of all metal, because my soil just doesn't like all metal, right? It gives me a lot of chatter on my soil here, and especially when it's wet out. The big coils is very susceptible to a lot of ground noise, so I'll just put it in ground discrimination pattern, which is 2 discriminated to 2. But I'm not going to be digging out any 2s anyway. But I want that descriptive audio, so I'm in 60 tone. If you put it in pitch tones, there's a lot of different settings that you have to adjust. Even with the Deus 1 and Deus 2, you know, the pitch tones is really a different type of hunting. You have to swing different, you have to have your coil at a different height, you have to be in different areas, you can't have any EMI, or, you know, pitch tones is not going to do well in EMI. And the 60 tone, I keep my audio pitch in 60 tone at 15 in both park and field. So it can be this, so pull tabs are going to give me the same tone, or the pennies or the coins are going to give me the same tone if I'm in park or field. So if you change those tones, you're going to get a different tone on those same targets. Like this penny is going to sound different from that penny is going to sound different from that penny if you have your tone pitch set differently in those different programs. And I don't use Goldfield program because can't use single frequency. I can't use those mid frequencies, right? Now I can use 20 and 40 and multi, but I'm pretty much stuck with pitch tones. You know, I'm pretty much stuck with VCO operation, and it's really sensitive to those small little bits of foil in Goldfield program. And it's just really sensitive. It's really sensitive in Goldfield program. In the wet and dry beach program, I can't go in a single frequency. So if I do get some EMI, I have to drop my gain way down. I really don't like dropping my gain really far down. I would rather change other settings or frequency to keep my gain up as high as I can go for the area. I want to be getting those smaller targets. In my dry soil right now, I'm not going to be getting very many small targets because it's just the ground's just too dry and it's not very conductive. Very little conductivity in my soil right now, but there's minerals. You know, those minerals are still there. But you know, I guess that's my cheat sheet. There's no really, I can't tell you how to dial your machine in. I can't tell you how to run your machine. You're gonna have to learn that on your own. Might be a big bubble burster to you, but you know, just hang in there. And you know, my settings aren't going to work for everybody, right? And my swing style definitely for surely does not work for everybody's hunting conditions. If you're going for deeper targets, I don't have any recommendations, right? Pretty much, you just got to get the experience on the machine. You know, put a big coil on and hope for the best. All right. Well, thank you for watching.